Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Councilmember Say, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice and liberty for all. Thank you, members. A few procedural announcements. Pursuant to Section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, this meeting will be conducted as a remote meeting by interactive conference technology, with the following procedures in effect for the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda, either in person or in the council chamber. Okay, I'll do it after the announcements. Before testifying, each person shall state their full name and the agenda items they are testifying on. Each speaker may not have anyone else read their statement and is limited to a 3-minute presentation on public hearing and new business items, and a 1-minute presentation on all other items. Registered in-person testifiers will be called first. When your name is called, please proceed to the podium and begin by stating your name and the items you'll be speaking on. When I call for anyone who has not registered to speak in person, please line up to the right of the podium, and when it is your turn, proceed to the podium. Begin by stating your name and the item you'll be speaking on. All persons who have registered to testify remotely by video conference or by phone will then be called. When your name is called, please monitor your screen and activate your audio feed when prompted. When I call for anyone else standing by remotely, please utilize the Zoom raise hand button to indicate your desire to speak. The following are some friendly reminders and tips. Video conference from a quiet location if possible. If you're also watching the proceeding on Olelo, please mute your device at the time you are called to testify. When the timer on the screen reaches 0, please conclude your remarks promptly. For those who are joining us by telephone only, I will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When your number is called, press *6 to unmute yourself when prompted. Hawaii Revised Statute Section 92-3.7 requires all votes at remote meetings to be conducted by roll call unless unanimous. Therefore, I will first call for objections, and if any, I will then call for the roll call vote. For those council members participating outside of the council chamber in accordance with HRS Section 92-3.7, the meeting will automatically recess if we lose audiovisual contact with you and cannot reconvene until we reestablish contact. Therefore, please announce beforehand if you will be voluntarily signing out of the meeting. Written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. As a courtesy, please turn off all cell phones during the duration of the meeting. Before we start the agenda, Councilmember Say, would you like to introduce our guest giving the message of aloha?
Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Chair. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Coach Dan Hale. With a memorable career spanning years of dedication, Coach Hale has become a beacon of inspiration for athletes and a driving force behind his team's efforts. Dan has coached for more than 25 years, and amongst his many accomplishments, he was named the ILH Coach of the Year in 2005, the OIA Coach of the Year in 2003. Before I continue, Mr. Chair, may I explain to the residents what ILH is? Interscholastic League of Honolulu. What does OIA stand for? The Oahu Interscholastic Association, public schools. ILH is private, OIA is public. He is currently the coach of St. Louis, where he led the varsity basketball team to win the state championship 2 years in a row. And after bringing the Koa Trophy back to the slopes of Kalaipahaku in 2022, for the first time since 1986, the St. Louis basketball team had their second victory this year. Coach Hale shared the key in a team that can execute is finding the right guys that want to play in and who are willing to make the sacrifices to do that. But a basketball coach is more than just a strategist or a playmaker. They are the heart and soul of a team, the driving force behind the pursuit of excellence. His team understands that basketball is not merely a sport, but a vehicle for personal growth and transformation. Each player is instilled with values of discipline, perseverance, and respect, and humility, and love that extend far beyond the final buzzer. His players have not only emerged as skilled athletes, but as individuals of character, poised to tackle the challenges of life with unwavering resolve. And coach doesn't just talk the talk. Before he was coach, Dan Hill, wow, was a starting center on the 1979 state championship basketball team at Punahou that year. Fun fact, also included as a reserve senior shooting guard named Barack Obama. Wow, you played with a president of the United States. The 1979 squad was the first of three straight state title winning teams on which Hale played. In each of those years, he was named to the All ILH and All State first teams, collecting ILH Player of the Year honors as a senior. He gained national recognition and was named to the McDonald's Top 100, as well as the Converse and Street and Smith All-America teams. Mahalo, Coach Hale, for being here today and sharing your message aloha to the members of the City Council and the general public at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Calvin. Aloha, everyone. You kind of stole my thunder on some of the things I was going to. But I did want to talk about today, I did want to go talk about my message of aloha. And really, it's currently, and it centers around this transformative journey that our basketball team at St. Louis High School had in winning not just one, but two state championships after a 36-year drought. The spirit of aloha, the love and support of each other really guided our path through this whole journey. So I wanted to share that with you today. 4 years ago, I was in Virginia, and I left to come back to coach at St. Louis School. And it's much more known for its football prowess than basketball. In fact, it raised many eyebrows from many friends when I said I was coming back to coach. But you know, I came with it. I was the 8th coach from their last championship, and a lot of my friends were kind of a little bit skeptical about what could be done up there. But I hung in there because I knew in my heart, after talking to the different search committee people and the people that were in the decision mode, I just had this amazing sense of aloha from them. And really, that kind of propelled this whole journey. The brotherhood embraced me, and with warmth and encouragement. And it really, really inspired me to continue on and to take that job and to come back. So just a little bit about me and my coaching. Aloha has always been the cornerstone of my coaching philosophy. Creating a culture based off the love and support of each other is paramount to me. And it's why I've been as successful as a player, and it's why I've been successful as a coach. I coached at Honolulu High School, Punahou School, where that was my alma mater, George C. Marshall High School in Northern Virginia. But what I've done with all my teams is emphasized that spirit. And St. Louis was no exception, especially when I came there, and I was embraced by everybody. Just an incredible supportive community towards me and towards what I wanted to do. Our first year was tough. When I first got here, we ended 6th out of 7th. We had 4 wins in the ILH, and it was tough to come back and finish that way. But this is where the aloha spirit really kicked in, because our school administration, our parents, and most importantly, our players really bought into that. And I could see it. And I could see it in them, and I could see it in their belief. I could see it in their commitment. And that was really, really special. Even though you finish sixth, when you have guys that are committed to a journey, it definitely leaves something for the future. The next year, we were really excited, and then this thing called the global pandemic happened. And you know, the resilience of our community, the support of our administration, they allowed us to play what they called a basketball experience in a safe way with masks. And we went 13-0 in that, playing against different club teams and different groups that were able to play. This was the moment when I could really see that this program was moving in the right direction. So the following year, a couple of years ago, the stage was set and the expectations were high. I had a number of players that had bought into this culture of aloha and embodied it with a full heart. And we won our league, and as Uncle Calvin said, after 36 years, the drought was over and we won the state title. It was an amazing experience to be with those guys and to go through that and to hear from the community and the aloha from everybody that really embraced us. It was tremendous. So what do you do next? Well, we graduated over half of our team, including all 5 starters, and the only thing that remained was this really strong spirit of aloha. And our community really embraced that as well. Our boys once again bought in, showed it from the very beginning, and defied all odds by winning back-to-back state championships. The last time that St. Louis did this was 52 years ago. So it was quite a momentous thing. But none of that happens if this community does not support us. It was really, really special to be a part of. Our star player, Pupu Sepulona, he echoed this spirit perfectly in his post-game interview, saying, "We did this for our brothers. I love them so much." And that really embodied what I brought to this program, what the kids and the players have brought in, what the administration and the parents have bought into. This basketball program is a testament to this power of aloha. The love of family, community, team, keakua. We are proof, and me being a part of this, that when you embrace these principles, whatever seems improbable becomes possible. So anyway, thank you again for allowing me to share that, and have a great day. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't excuse Kalana. He played out with you.
That's my brother.
That's some good, brother.
Yeah, it is. Right on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I remember watching both state championship games on the edge of my seat, and congratulations. Members, on page 23, we have a hand-carried proposed FD1 amendment to Resolution 23-85, accepting a gift of a bench, concrete pad, and aluminum plaque valued at $4,639.07 to the city from Steve Williams for installation at Kailua Beach Park. Copies are available at the city clerk's office downstairs in room 203. In addition, I believe on page 9, members, I'd like to move Bill 8, CD1 to the end of the calendar. I believe there is going to be a floor draft that Office of Council Services is currently working on. We need it in writing, therefore we need to move it to the end of the calendar so that we can get it in writing. Also, Resolution 23-46 on page 6 was canceled. However, I'd like to call someone from the administration when we come up at page 6 to explain. This is Resolution 23-46. Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cordero?
Here.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Here.
Councilmember Kiaina?
Here.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Present.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Talba?
Here.
Councilmember Tupola?
Eo.
Councilmember Wire? Here. Chair Waters?
Here.
Mr. Chair, there are nine
Thank-
members present.
Thank you. Floor Leader Cordero, are there any guests?
Thank you, Chair. In addition to the members that you introduced earlier this morning during the honorary certificate program, I would like to welcome members of the public as well as the city administration and appointees to commissions and boards. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair Kia Aina, motion to approve the minutes.
I move that the minutes of the 5th and 6th sessions be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered in-person or remote testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you very much. Members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, the minutes have been approved. Moving to the top of page 5, we now move to the order of the day. From the Committee on Budget, Councilmember Cordero.
Oh, I move that Committee Report 106 and Resolution 23-47 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
So Resolution 23-47 confirms the appointment of Ms. Sandra Larson to serve on the Grants and Aid Advisory Commission on the City and County of Honolulu.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to amend?
Yes. I move, oh wait, amend. Let's see. Is there anywhere? Okay, I move that Resolution 2347 be amended to an FD1. And the amendments are set forth in the written summary as posted on the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero explained what that was. Mr. Clerk, are there any registered in-person or remote testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Is there anybody else in the audience that'd like to testify? Seeing none? Members, we're in discussion on the motion to amend. Seeing none, are there any objections or reservations to the motion to amend? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-47 has been amended to the posted FD1. Now, members, we are in discussion on the posted FD1. Councilmember Kia Aina.
Chair Waters, I just wanted to, again, commend both Ms. Larson as well as Mr. Hurt for their willingness to serve on the Grants and Aid Advisory Commission, but I did still want to note for the administration that currently there are 4 men and 1 woman serving on the commission with 2 vacancies. And so I look forward to the filling the 2 vacancies, preferably with 2 women with nonprofit background who are not conflicted. This is a critically important commission for our communities, and it's good to ensure we have diversity on this commission as well as people who understand what our nonprofit communities are going through. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, I do want to note that we were contacted by the nominee. Unfortunately, she was unable to make it today. I know she was fully vetted in the Budget Committee, so please excuse her absence today. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-47 FD1 has been adopted. Congratulations to Ms. Larson. Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 107 and Resolution 2349 be adopted, and the resolution confirms the appointment of Mr. Cameron Hurt to serve on the Grants and Aid Advisory Commission of the City and County of Honolulu.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
Chair, I just did. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered or unregistered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to testify? Please come forward. Can you state your full name for the record? Hello and welcome. There's a little button called on and off. If you could push that, the red light will go on, and please proceed. There you go.
All right, you ready? Dear members of the board, my name right now may be Brian Anderson, but soon it'll change to match my father who sits before you. The reason I bring this up is because I feel it speaks to the type of individual my father is, not only as a person, but as a strong community contributor. I was someone who struggled economically and educationally when he first met me, coming from a homeless shelter in California, then bouncing back to Vegas, and finally making a stay in Hawaii. From the grace of God, I was able to meet Mr. Hurt as a young child while I was learning how to navigate middle and high school and in a completely new state. Not to mention my personal life, he heard my struggles and in stride made me feel as if I was equal to the other students who had parents or an advocate speaking for them, fighting tooth and nail to make sure I was supported and taken care of. I've seen my dad come through many different chapters and adversities, both in a professional space, but through it all, I've never seen him shy away from doing what's right for helping others, even at his own expense, quite literally letting others eat off his plate. And in summary, I urge the council to vote yes in confirmation of my dad due to the grants and aids of the Commission for the City and County of Honolulu, Hawaii. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Well said. Good morning and welcome. Could you please state your name for the record and then please proceed?
Good morning, Council. My name is Jason Kwok. I'm a class of 2022 graduate of Punahou School. I first met Mr. Hurt when I was a 7th grader playing on the intermediate soccer team. Coach Cam, who I still call to this day, was an incredible mentor to me. At the time, I was a shy kid who didn't really know what I wanted to do in life. And Coach Cam provided me with not only the ability to become a better soccer player, but a better character, develop a better character, and become a better person as well. Coach Cam always prioritized service and discipline, requiring us to wear collared shirts on game days and ties as well. He is a man of incredible character, and I can attest to that, having been with him in numerous practices and having still connected with him to today. I urge you to vote for Mr. Hurt. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify?
Mr. Chair, we have 2 persons standing by remotely.
Please proceed.
Aloha and good morning, council members. My name is Moana Siaki, and I'd like to give oral testimony in support of Cameron Hurt. Please excuse my appearance. I've been sick this week, but I didn't want to miss the opportunities to speak in support of Cam for this important hearing. A quick background on myself. I'm a director on the board for 2 local nonprofit organizations. I'm in the Air National Guard, and I'm actively involved with helping shelter and foster children in our community. I've known Cam for close to a decade, both professionally and personally. We've worked on multiple projects together, and he's supported various events and fundraisers that we've held to help the less fortunate on our island. Cam is dedicated to helping and supporting our community, and he is unequivocally trustworthy. He's an asset to any organization, and I urge you to vote yes on confirming Cam to the Commission for Grants and Aid for the City and County of Honolulu. Mahalo for your time.
Thank you so much. Our next testifier, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Chair, I believe the person has indicated that they didn't want to testify.
Did not want to testify. Okay. Members, we're in discussion. Councilmember Wire.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to extend a mahalo to Mr. Hurt for stepping up, for all the service he's done in the community, both for our youth and also just other organizations, and understanding that this is a volunteer position, as all of our boards and commissions are. Just mahalo for sharing your time with the city and the island of Oahu. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Saying none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objection, Committee on Planning and the Economy, Councilmember Kia Aina.
I move that Committee Report 106 and
In committee, but if one of you would like to come up and just say a few words on behalf of your colleagues, I think that would be greatly appreciated. Aloha and welcome.
Relina Kealoha, Chair Waters, council members. Nui ko mako aloha ki I commission nei, And ololo kako ku iluna. Those who are able to be here, one of our commissioners unfortunately is in travel. Fortunately, because she's supporting a larger community, and we support her absence this morning, Dr. Kehaulani Abond, who with Mahealani Safer has actually supported and even led this effort since its inception in 1992. Your commission, should we be confirmed today, stands ready. Mako kau noho I mako e koku aku I na papahana e vai hui I mo mako to support that agenda which is provided us, and for us perhaps to determine as we will meet and begin our training next week. No, Laila, if there are any questions, we'll be ready to answer them. But mahalo nui loa ia oko a pauloa. Aloha.
Thank you so much, and aloha to you and your fellow commissioners. Before we take questions, can we take testimony first? Mr. Clerk, is there anybody registered to testify on Resolution 23-45 CD1?
Mr. Chair, we have one registered, I'm sorry, two?
On behalf of Nanea Claire Lowe, Valina Mai Ova o Kapi'olani, Claudia Claire Kapi'olani, Quintanilla, mother of Nanea Lowe. I am amazed, so sorry, I'm so nervous. I am amazed and proud of my Nanea, how she has established herself in positions as and volunteering her life to preserve, to pursue, and to help preserve our Hawaii. Her passion to stand for our Hawaii. So, mahalo, my baby girl, and mahalo, council members, for this opportunity. Aloha.
Aloha, thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have the other person on standby, ready to testify? Is that Angela Young?
Yes.
Okay, please proceed.
Aloha, Chair and the City Council. Angela Young testifying in support, and just want to say congratulations and good luck to all the appointees. There are some things that I wish to comment on for the appointees as they look forward to serving on the commission or the board. So in November 2022, the discussion about Bill 44 included a conversation about addressing any duplications or conflicts with SHIP-D, and it was discussed that DPP needs help, and so does SHIP-D. And so that was a discussion at the city, and the state had a similar discussion, and the state in January 2023 was seeking to find solutions for SHIP-D, and some of the things that they deliberated was, how do we get SHIF-D to move faster? SHIF-D is of persistent concern, and SHIF-D said that the county is sending many projects to them. And the House Housing Chair responded by asking SHIF-D if there are tools that were provided to the county to filter what projects to send to SHIF-D. And SHIF-D says that this is up to the county. And so the conclusion is that the county needs to be provided with the right SHIF-D tools so they don't send so many projects for review. So the county can be more informed in making a decision.
Could you please wrap up your testimony?
Yes, I will wrap up. They can make a more informed decision, and the solution is modernization, and it means all reviewers across the state will have the same documents. So what is being worked on with is not paper centralized in a cabinet. So that is something. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, are there any unregistered testifiers in the audience who'd like to testify?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you very much. Members, we're in discussion. Councilmember Kia Aina.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to thank again all of the appointees for your willingness to serve. We had a very robust discussion in the committee to talk about the qualifications and of all of the nominees. And so I'm pleased not only, again, by us coming to this day, but of course, Chair and my colleagues for supporting this, and Mayor Blangiardi and his administration for not only making sure that this commission got to the finish line and got established, but also nominating a high caliber of professionals who include actually a majority of Native Hawaiians on this commission, as well as archaeologists and wahine. And I'm just so excited for the people of Honolulu. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Members, any further discussion? Councilmember Tupolo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank all the commissioners and those who are here today. I just want to say something brief about Kumu Abad. So Kehonani Abad was a teacher when I was in high school, and I was always admired the fight she had. But as a professional, working alongside her and seeing her relentless fight, it actually doesn't surprise me that she's not here, because she's constantly out fighting the battle for Indigenous education, Native Hawaiian education, whether public, private, Kamehameha schools, charter schools. So I just think that her professional background and ike that she's going to bring to this, as well as all of the other commissioners, is outstanding. I mean, these are like star-studded individuals in the community that are chosen to be a part of this. So it's going to be impressive, and I just want to thank those who have stepped forward for their volunteerism and, of course, for their time that they're going to put in to help us in this matter. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Members, any further discussion? Councilmember Wire.
Mahalo, Chair. Just wanted to extend mahalo to all the commissioners, in being advocates and experts, and also laying the foundation for this day to happen. Just appreciate all your work. And as the first body that's taking on this task, just want to invite continued input on how we can assist, adjust, whether it's in charter language or the ordinance or in budget. And so grateful to have your expertise, because I think it can ensure that this commission does its full, rises to its full potential. So mahalo.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, before we vote, I also want to echo these sentiments. This is actually a very monumental day. This commission was approved well over 20 years ago. And we finally, with the help of Vice Chair Kia Aina and actually Mayor Blangiardi, got this off the ground. And I know we gave a few of you a hard time during the vetting process in committee, but I really appreciate all that you folks are doing, and I respect each and every one of you, and I know for a fact that you folks are going to do a great job. And after we vote, I do want to take a few minutes just to take a picture, because it really is monumental. And those of you watching from on TV, just recognizing how important this is to protect what makes Hawaii special. And really, that's what we're asking you folks to do. And it's such a wonderful thing. Any other comments, members, before we vote? Seeing none. Any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 106 and Resolution 23-45, CD1 has been adopted. Congratulations to all the appointees. If we may, members, can we take a brief recess for a photo in front of the rostrum, and then we'll proceed with the bottom of page 6. Brief recess. Good morning again, members. We are reconvening. We're at the bottom of page 6. Members, as the agenda notes that number 6, Resolution 23-46 has been canceled. That was based on a May 16th letter, which is yesterday, timestamp 2:38 p.m., Mayor's Message 99, hereby withdrawing the appointment of Dennis Morton to the Fire Commission. I do note the presence of Managing Director Mike Formby here to explain what happened. I do want to point out that it's highly unusual for us to get a letter at such late notice in the game. So please, Mr. Formby, if you can explain, we do actually have the nominee himself present as well. Please proceed.
Good morning, Chair Waters, Vice Chair Kiana, and members of the council. Mike Formby, Managing Director. So, Chair, personally, I wasn't part of the decision, but I can tell you that Mayor made it pretty clear to Sam Moku, Chief of Staff who handles boards and commissions, that when he came into office, he did want to have the opportunity to appoint new commissioners. And he's been doing that on the Police Commission, and he's been doing it on other boards and commissions. And what happened in this case is, I believe, the office submitted the nomination before the mayor was able to actually understand that they were doing that, and he asked Sam Moku to undo it so that he could have an opportunity to talk to Mr. Morton. And I think that's where it's at, is that Mayor just hasn't had an opportunity to actually spend time on this one. He didn't want to go through and just renominate someone without having that ability to look at whether or not this is the appropriate person. So the mayor apologizes to the extent that it was handled at the very last minute. There was nothing personal, no agenda here. It's just, it simply was contrary to his policy. So the mayor will be reaching out, and we'll see what we can do to figure out who best to fill that position.
Thank you. I do believe a couple members have questions
Sure.
for you, starting with Councilmember Okimoto, followed by Councilmember
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Managing Director. I appreciate you coming here and sharing the response coming from the mayor's office, but I do have some concerns. I don't appreciate the process that was taken, and I think I would be more accepting of your response had we been hearing this right now for the first time. But there was a process where it went through full council, where the mayor's nominee was put through us, we vetted, went through the Public Safety Committee, our Vice Chair and I, Toba, went through it. And while I appreciate, again, the explanation of getting new people in, I think there should be a better, I'm not fully understanding why this wasn't done earlier, because if the mayor had been wanting to get new people in, then why are we only addressing it now when it's going through the full council? I do appreciate Mr. Morton's service, not just previously in the fire department, but what he's done on the commission. And I think this really sets a negative precedent moving forward when we have people coming on their own time, taking time to sacrifice and serve in the community, in the communities in this capacity, and then at the last minute, I was notified even after this, and it was concerning to me because I had not any note of it until later on in the evening. So I would appreciate if you could explain to me. I know you're saying that he had no idea, but it's not like this was the first time that we're hearing it here in this chamber. We had the council and the committee to do so.
Yeah, Councilmember Okimoto, thank you for that. I agree with you. I'm not here to defend the process and say that it was how the administration wanted to happen. It happened that way. And that's why Mayor wants to reach out to Mr. Morton and have a meeting and discuss. But it's not something where we're not setting a precedent here. We don't intend to function like this again. This was a mistake that happened, and it will be rectified. I promise you that.
Thank you, and I would like to say that while I do appreciate the new blood in, but I think we shouldn't discredit those who have value and knowledge that they can share in the capacities that we're appointing them to. So I think I would appreciate that Mayor would actually reach out to Mr. Morton, but
that was the intent, and that's why he's asking to do that now. I mean, the intent was he wanted to have that conversation. I'm not defending, and I'm not telling you it was handled appropriately. I came up this morning and told you it was not handled appropriately. So I'm not doing that. But I'm telling you that this is not the way that we'll be working going forward. There's no precedent being set. We value experience, knowledge, prior service. We value all of that. So we're not in disagreement.
Okay, it'd be good to not see this happen again. Yeah, thank you.
You have my commitment.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you, Managing Director. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
My question is in regards to this policy of meeting with someone as they get reinstated or extended into another term. I'm just going to be frank. I mean, there is a handful on the Planning Commission as well as the Liquor Commission that were reinstated to other terms that didn't re-speak with the mayor again. So is this a new policy that everyone who is going to continue on to another policy has this talk? Because we actually brought this up. We did bring it up during the Liquor Commission hearing that for a lot of the renominations that we wanted to make sure that we weren't just extending it just because the term's up.
Right.
But specifically for one of the Planning Commission members, we had brought up the issue, and at the very last minute, we pulled it because there was not due diligence on the renomination of this person who had forfeiture claims against them. So is this a new policy, which of course I'm in support of? I think everyone should have a re-up meeting, but when did this start?
Yeah, it's not a new policy. I think it's a matter of whether or not it's been executed consistent with the mayor's wishes. And so I'll work on that. I don't directly oversee boards and commissions, and maybe I need to from this point forward. But I do think that the mayor wants to be more deliberative and have the opportunity to actually go through a thoughtful either reappointment process or appointment process. And we're sort of in growing pains here after this time of getting it right, and the mayor wants to get it right. So I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with you either.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Honestly, a re-up conversation or your new conversation, those are all necessary. So 100% behind that. But I'm also supportive of this nominee and did feel like we went through this due diligence to speak, meet with him, figure out his background, and of course the work he's already done and that we think he'll continue to do as a commission member. But we appreciate you being here to answer the questions. Thank you, Chair.
And Council Member, I appreciate your input. I take it to heart. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you. Managing Director Formby, I know that we have seen a slew of nominees that have either been withdrawn or withdrawn themselves. And we are at a juncture where the nominee has served, and I believe going through the public safety process and coming before the council before as well, has stated, and I think still with his presence here, would like to continue to serve. So I personally feel like, just sitting here, kind of being shocked by all of this, and I don't even know how Mr. Morton's feeling, but it's kind of embarrassing, I have to say, from my perspective. And although I personally don't sit as a voting member on public safety, I do recall him coming before the council when he was first appointed, and do know that he has risen to Vice Chair of the Fire Commission, and appreciate his work and also his commitment to want to serve again on the Fire Commission. So I just want to share my thoughts on that. I was prepared to vote in support of the nominee appointee, or reappointment, I should say, and I just think this is really interesting, and I don't know what else to say about it. It's weird. But okay, thank you.
Thank you, Council Member. I appreciate those comments.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you. I have two questions. The first is with regard to this policy. So could you just, for clarity's sake, there were 9 reappointments last year. There were 6 reappointments in 2021. Is this policy intended to be against all reappointments? Are we going to be expecting just no new reappointments and totally new board members moving forward?
I'm not sure that I understand that question, Council Member.
I think, well, you mentioned that the mayor has policy now that we're hearing about how he's going to be approaching reappointments. And so we've had 9 reappointments last year, 6 reappointments in 2021. Is the mayor's new policy to not reappoint anyone and seek new board members entirely?
Oh, no, not at all. I think the mayor's commitment was to be more deliberative in both reappointments and new appointments. And there's a staff that implements the process, and that staff has been under the Chief of Staff, Sam Moku. The staff implements that process, and the mayor has felt that he did not always have the time to make deliberative decisions, and he's asked that he be given that. Typically, the mayor will call the individuals in, and he'll meet with them, and he'll talk about their experiences on and their plans going forward. And so I think the mayor's just asking that he have more time to be able to make those kinds of important commitments to our commissions and boards.
Okay, and then my second question is, what criteria is the mayor looking for in a fire commissioner that perhaps the mayor feels that Mr. Morton doesn't have?
Well, I can't comment on that, council member. You'd have to ask the mayor. And I don't believe he's actually arrived at a position that there's something that Mr. Morton doesn't have. I think he just hasn't had the opportunity to deliberate on this. And so typically when I've been present, when he's having conversations about potential nominees, he talks to them about their experience on the board and commission. He asks them whether or not they want to continue to serve. He talks about what ideas, what concerns they have. And he looks for people that he feels are objective and put the board and commission first. And I've seen that time and time again when he has the opportunity to meet with nominees. He's not of an agenda when he brings them in. He simply wants to know that they're committed to the best interest of the city. And he does it through a conversation process. Sometimes it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's an hour. So I respect the mayor for that. He has the authority under charter to appoint. And I think if the mayor has asked his administration to give him more time to think about some of these appointments and renominations, then we need to give him that time. And it may be that after he meets with Mr. Morton and goes through this process that Mr. Morton's name will come forward again. I don't know. I don't know. I know there was no agenda here to remove him for any reason other than the mayor wanted more time to deliberate.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Managing Director Farby. So I want to thank Council Member Dos Santos Tam for asking those questions, because I think I'm trying to put the math together with so many that were reappointed. Are you telling us that the mayor actually went and spoke to these people before they were reappointed? If he doesn't have the time that it seems like he doesn't have to speak to Mr. Morton, were these previous people who had been in a commission previously, were they approached by the mayor and talked to, and was all this done before the final confirmations are made?
Yeah, council member, I don't think it is one way or the other. There are individuals that the mayor has other people do due diligence for him, talks to other commission board members, talks to the department to which they're attached, sometimes consults with the unions when the unions have a position. And sometimes the mayor reads the report that's given to him, and if he has time, he talks to them. If he doesn't, he goes with the recommendation. But there are times that the mayor chooses to meet with people and to talk to them. So I don't think it needs to be one way or the other, and I don't think I have the right to tell mayor that you must always do it a certain way. I think as mayor of the city, the mayor has the ability to look at what his staff recommends and to decide how he wants to appoint and reappoint.
Well, I think you can tell by the reaction from the body right now that we're frustrated and disappointed.
I get that.
It doesn't make sense for us to go through whatever process was done here. I understand the mayor has his authority and he has his right to do what he wants to do. However, this is where Mr. Morton has sacrificed and again done a lot for our county, and he is offering to continue to do so.
Sure.
So if you're saying that the mayor just needs to meet with him, I'm having a hard time understanding that, because he could have done it beforehand. This has been going on for more than a month.
Councilmember, I think I explained to you that this was not normal practice.
Correct.
I've explained it to you, and I've apologized to you for that. And I don't think I can do more than that, because there's nothing further I can say.
Maybe, because I think the body has spoken that we really do support Mr. Morton. So
I hear that.
If the doors are still open and the mayor just wants to meet with him, I hope that we can come back to some kind of agreement and that this door hasn't shut on Mr. Morton, because he has done a lot for the community. And we would love to see him continue to do so.
So, Councilmember, I hear you, and I've heard every single one of you that have spoke on this issue. And I don't disrespect any of you for your position. But the mayor needs to have the opportunity to do what he would like to do. I can't promise you that Mr. Morton's name will come back, but it may. I leave that up to the mayor. And I hear all of you, and I respect. This was highly unusual the way it happened. It's not something that we will be doing again.
Thank you.
I promise you that.
Thank you, Managing Director Formby. I know this was not your decision, but for you coming here and explaining that to us all and taking the hard questions, so we appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Chair. And Mr. Morton, you have my apologies as well. We will be reaching out to you. So, council members, thank you for the input. I appreciate it.
Thank you. May we at this point call Dwayne Pang from Corporation Counsel to maybe answer a few legal questions?
Dwayne Pang, Deputy Corporation Counsel.
Thank you. Since this was canceled off of the agenda, I do note that the nominee is here. Is he allowed to speak?
Technically, the matter is no longer on the agenda, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
It was highly unusual for the managing director to speak upon an agenda item that's been taken off the calendar.
Okay. Second question. Since Mr. Morton is currently on the Fire Commission, since this was pulled by the mayor, does he continue to serve as a holdover member?
Yes, your charter requires board members to stay on their seat until their replacement is confirmed.
I see. Okay. Thank you very much. Members, actually, any further follow-up questions for Mr. Pang? Seeing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, members, let's turn now to page 6. Thank you, Mr. Morton. Appreciate you being here and your supporters. We'll be in touch. Okay, turning to the top of page 7 from the Committee on Transportation, Council Member Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you, Chair. I move that CR 126 be adopted and Bill 32, CD1 as amended pass second reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Council Member Dos Santos Tam for the explanation.
This relates to public transit, specifically amending Chapter 15B ROH to incorporate rail service, update general provisions, and repeal outdated provisions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have no registered testifiers, one person standing by remotely.
Please proceed with the standby testifier.
Aloha, Chair and the City Council. Angela testifying in support of the Bill 32. And so for this particular discussion, I'd like to talk about disabilities and accessibility. And as an active disabled citizen who utilizes the bus almost every day, I've witnessed a lot of things, and people wonder why disabled people need equity. And again, it's not VIP treatment, it's just creating equity for those who suffer medically. People with disabilities suffer from cancer, severe medical conditions. For example, I, as a disabled person, use a wheelchair. I go to the emergency room 1 or 2 times a year. Yesterday, when everyone was at the Turtle Bay concert, I was at the emergency room in severe pain. So creating equity and providing accommodations is a necessary provision, and it's legislated by the Americans with Disabilities Act. And there are also some state provisions as well. Public assembly and public accommodations have to adhere to the ADA. And for example, if someone cannot hear well and needs the volume turned up, or requires visual interpretations as accommodations for a disability, this must be provided. For general transportation, assistance features to be fully functional, that has to be provided at all times, and transportation must provide properly trained personnel and operators. So the burden is upon the government to provide, and nowhere in the law does it say if it is a burden, you do not have to provide. In fact, the law already accounts for the fact that it will be a burden. If you've seen people like turn around on the bus in wheelchairs, it causes delays. The law doesn't legislate about the fact that the government doesn't have to provide if it's not a burden. It just says that accommodations have to be provided. So thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, is there anybody in the audience who'd like to testify on this measure?
Mr. Chair, there's no one in the audience. We have one more remote testifier.
Oh, please proceed.
Thank you, Natalie Wassa. I'm sorry, I didn't register to testify orally, but I submitted my testimony late last night, so I wanted to go over just the 2 points I have on this particular bill. Natalie Wassa, for the record, in case I didn't say that. I'm asking for 2 very simple amendments. On page 7, it talks about certain violations, and one of those is just dropping litter. So if somebody a Kleenex falls out or piece of paper or whatever, they would be in violation of this if this passes. So I'm just asking you to amend that to say throwing or knowingly dropping any litter. And knowingly is already in the bill in several places. So I think there's a recognition that sometimes that, things just happen and people shouldn't be charged a fine or worse. So ask for that amendment. And then on page 11, it talks about occupying seats and even placing objects in the seat next to you. That would be a violation if you just put something in the seat next to you. And so I'm asking for an amendment on that. There's no reason that people shouldn't be allowed to do that if there's plenty of room on the bus. So I don't know how you would word that, but something along the lines that would allow an exception if there's room. People can put something on the seat without being in violation of the law. So thank you so much for allowing me to testify, Chair. Council members.
Thank you very much, members. Any questions for the testifier? Councilmember Dos Santos Town.
This is less a question, but just to clarify, the reference on page 7 is actually copied and pasted from existing language, which can be found on page 5, which is struck out.
Thank you very much. Members, any other questions for the testifier? Seeing none, thank you, members. Mr. Clerk, anybody else wishing to testify on this matter?
Mr. Chair, that concludes the testifiers.
Thank you so much. Members, we're in discussion. Any further discussion? Councilmember Tupola.
Yeah, thank you so much to Chair of Transportation for clarifying that. Definitely, we're just trying to apply the same rules that are happening on the bus right now to the rail and when it opens. So thank you to DTS. I know they are working overtime to get all of this done. We have T-minus 6 weeks or something. So we definitely need to make sure that all the rules and policies are in place, but we do appreciate everyone for helping us to guide us on if we're missing anything. But they are handling a lot of work that I think we're all trying to double check everything they do, and I do support this measure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Members, I do want to point out that we have Roger Morton, Director of Transportation Services, available if any of you have any questions. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Talba?
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 126 has been adopted and Bill 32, CD1 has passed second reading. Now to the top of page 8 from the Committee on Budget, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 104 be adopted and Bill 2, CD1, pass third reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
Bill 2, CD1 relates to fees for use of municipal golf courses.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered or unregistered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to testify on Bill 2? Seeing none, members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Talba?
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 104 has been adopted and Bill 2, CD1 has passed third reading. Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 105 be adopted and Bill 7, CD1, pass third reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
Bill 7, CD1 relates to admission fees for the Honolulu Zoo.
Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
We have no registered testifiers, 1 person standing by remotely.
Thank you very much. Please proceed with the remote testifier.
Aloha, Chair and the City Council. Angela Melody Young, just testifying in support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, or excuse me, Mr. Clerk, any further testifiers?
Mr. Chair, that concludes the testifiers.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Noting none, Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Talba?
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 105 has been adopted. Bill 7 CD1 has passed third reading. Members, as noted earlier, Bill 8 CD1 has been put to the end of the calendar. Now turning to the top of page 10 from the Committee on Budget, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 108 and Resolution 23-58 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
Resolution 23-58 authorizes the execution of a ground lease with Honolulu Highlands LP to develop a senior affordable rental project at the former Aya Sugar Mill site at 99-3850 High Place, Aya, Oahu, Hawaii 96701, TMK number 19-9-078:006 in my district.
Thank you so much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the audience who'd like to testify? Seeing none? Members, we're in discussion. Any discussion? Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you. I just want to share that the Aya community is very excited for this project, and we hope to hear about updates about it from the developer or anyone from the city soon moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kiaina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Talba? Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 108 and Resolution 23-58 has been adopted. Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 109 and Resolution 23-59 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
The resolution authorizes the execution of a ground lease agreement with KP7 Partners LLP to develop an affordable rental housing project at the Kapolei Parkway Lot 7, 91-0 Kapolei Parkway, Kapolei, Hawaii, on the corner of Kapolei Parkway and Kunehi Street to Kapolei Parkway and Manawai Street. TMK number 191160:018.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have no registered testifiers.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak on this measure? Seeing none, members, we're in discussion. Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you. In support, definitely been working with this project coming up. This is where we've had a lot of accidents in the different intersections. We're grateful the developer pushed up, and as well grateful to DPP for pushing up that permit to get the stoplight up. So although it's not in the front end of their project, they switched it so that we could address some of the safety issues that are going to be future in surrounding their project. Also, they've been working with the local elementary school. So I just want to say thank you, because you know there are others that perhaps don't get as intricately involved, but this group has actually attended some of my town halls, answered all the community's questions. So I'm in support of this resolution as well as top of page 11. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kiaina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Talba? Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 109 and Resolution 23-59 has been adopted. Now to the top of page 11, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 110 and Resolution 23-60 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
The resolution authorizes the execution of a ground lease agreement with KP6 Partners LLP to develop an affordable rental housing project at the Kapolei Parkway Lot 6, 91-0 Kapolei Parkway, Kapolei, Hawaii, on the corner of Kapolei Parkway and Manawai Street to Kapolei Parkway and Wakea Street at TMK number 191160:018.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to testify? Seeing none, members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kiaina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto,
Aye.
Councilmember Say, Councilmember Talba, Councilmember Tupola,
Aye.
Councilmember Wire,
Aye.
Chair Waters.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 110 and Resolution 23-60 has been adopted. Now to the bottom of page 11, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 111 and Resolution 23-66 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
This relates to a transfer of funds.
Thank you so much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have no registered testifiers.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to testify? Noting there are no other persons in the audience or remotely wishing to testify. Members, I do want to point out that we have Tracy Kubota, Deputy Director, Department of Enterprise Services, available if any members do have questions. Members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 111 and Resolution 23-66 has been adopted. To the top of page 12, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 112 and Resolution 23-67 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
It relates to the transfer of funds with the Department of Budget and Fiscal Services.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to testify? I note that Director Kawano from Budget and Fiscal Services is available if members have any questions. Members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 112 and Resolution 23-67 has been adopted. Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 113 and Resolution 23-68 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
This is another transfer of funds for the Department of Budget and Fiscal Services.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, there are none.
Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to testify? Noting no additional testifiers, members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 113 and Resolution 23-68 has been adopted. Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 114 and Resolution 23-71 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
This relates to a transfer of funds for the Department of Environmental Services.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to testify? Noting that we do have the Deputy Director of Department of Environmental Services available. Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you. Deputy Director O'Keefe.
Aloha Chair, Council members, Mike O'Keefe, Deputy Director with the City's Department of Environmental Services.
Hi, Deputy Director. Thank you very much for being here. May I ask you explain a little bit of the transfer? And I know in the resolution it states to comply with an MOA for the payment of wastewater service charges to Hawaiian American Water. And can you just explain a little bit about that for the full council?
Sure. So the funds for this transfer are actually serving two purposes. The first is, as you mentioned, Councilmember, the funding for our service agreement with Hawaii American Water. We pay Hawaii American Water to take wastewater that's pumped from our Niu Valley pump station, basically through East Honolulu. That water goes to the Hawaii American Water treatment plant that's kind of across the road from Sandy's Beach. And that easternmost point of the Sand Island Basin, that goes to Hawaii American Water. Everything else, basically west of the Niu Valley Pump Station, goes to Sand Island. So they provide that service for us, and that's what this money is for.
Okay, thank you. And does that help us, is that in consideration with the capacity for Sand Island and the new capacity for it?
It's not really a capacity issue. It's just the way the system was designed and constructed. The geography is such that it just makes more sense that far east in the basin, that far away from the Sand Island treatment plant, to just pump it to Hawaii American Water to have them treated for us.
Thank you. And for this MOA, how long does the MOA last? And if it's up for reconsideration, does it have to go out for procurement?
I'm not sure about the term of the MOA, and I'm not sure about that second question either, but I can get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, any further discussion or questions for Deputy Director O'Keefe? Councilmember Tupola.
Quick follow-up. So because these are from current expenses in one category to another, in regards to the budget that you guys are submitting, and because you said the MOA is going to continue, are you guys going to be already kind of reallocating that so it's in the right current expenses fund?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So going forward, we won't have to continue to do this, because that is a hefty cost, but if you guys know that it's coming up, then we can just put in the right current expenses.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, any further discussion? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 114 and Resolution 23-71 has been adopted. Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you. I move that Committee Report 115 and Resolution 23-72 CD1 as amended be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
This is a transfer of funds, relating to a transfer of funds with the Department of Facility Maintenance.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clerk. Do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have anyone else wishing to testify?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you so much. Members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 115 and Resolution 23-72, CD1 has been adopted. Now to the top of page 14, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 116 and Resolution 23-73 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
This relates to a transfer of funds for the Honolulu Emergency Services Department.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clerk. Do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to testify on this matter? Seeing none, I do note the presence of Dr. Ireland. Thank you, Dr. Ireland, for being here. If members have any questions. Councilmember, we're in discussion. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Just a quick question, Chair. These towers that are proposed to be constructed, where are those going to be? I think the public ought to know, and I think they'll be excited to hear that these are coming to beaches near them.
Thank you. Good morning.
Chair, thank you. Council member, the Ocean Safety Division has 41 active lifeguard towers now, and they have about a 10-year service life. So just to keep up with the just normal replacement, we generally order 4 towers a year. In last year's budget, Councilmember Tupola put an additional tower in for a new tower at Electric Beach. We've already purchased 4 towers this year. And this allows us to purchase 2 additional towers. So the 4 on the normal replacement scale, the 1 for Electric Beach, and then a bonus tower, if you will, either for, probably for replacement ahead of schedule on one of the other towers. But to answer council members' questions, I do not know the exact locations of those towers at this time.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you. Hi, Dr. Ireland. I was wondering, what's the difference between moving it between current expenses and equipment to erect the towers?
I think we had a surplus of money, as I mentioned in a recent meeting here, for medical supplies. And we had an overabundance of medical supplies, partially because of the overbuying during CARES and PPE and some of the extra funds allotted through in preparation for the pandemic. And rather than purchase additional supplies that we may not need or could expire, because that's the problem with medical supplies, often they expire, we, with this resolution, will be able to buy an extra tower.
Thank you. Any
Thank you.
further discussion, members? Noting none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 116 and Resolution 23-73 has been adopted. Thank you very much. Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 117 and Resolution 23-74 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
This relates to a transfer of funds also with the Honolulu Emergency Services Department.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, are there any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have no registered testifiers, one person standing by remotely.
Okay, please proceed.
Aloha, Angela Melody Young. I wish to comment on an operation from the Honolulu Emergency Services Department, specifically CORE. So actually, I was picked up in CORE, and CORE now responds to lower acuity calls. So CORE is not operating as it should be because it's being dispatched to answer non-emergency calls. And the concept of CORE was to respond to homelessness. So the homeless, they call when they experience crisis, or if they're sick. Sometimes they call because they just need attention. And that's the purpose of CORE. And so I don't know if it's a management issue or if something evolved within CORE, that now CORE responds to regular ambulance calls. It doesn't just respond to homelessness. And if it was meant to be modeled after STAR, STAR has comprehensive metrics about which homeless are calling and which homeless are calling repeatedly to ask for welfare checks or to ask for snacks. So it's a good way to it's a good index to measure.
Can I ask you to wrap up your testimony, please?
Yeah. So the way STAR operates measures the support the homeless need, but CORE has deviated. So I think that should be something the council should look at. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to testify? Seeing none, members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 117 and Resolution 23-74 has been adopted. Now to the top of page 15, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 118 and Resolution 23-77 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
So Resolution 23-77 is a transfer of funds for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Are there any registered testifiers?
Yes, Mr. Chair, one registered testifier signed in.
Is that Ms. Iwasa?
Yes, sir.
Good morning again, Ms. Iwasa. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Natalie Wassa, for the record. Good morning, council members. I submitted written testimony in opposition, but I'd just like to change that to comments only. And the reason I'm doing that is because I recognize that the electricity must be paid for. This is for the remainder of the fiscal year. But I wanted to bring up the concern that currently lights are on at parks when nobody is there. You know, when it's raining, before sunset, they come on. And so I'm asking that DPR put in those meters. They are used effectively in other places, and they allow people to turn the lights on when they are actually using them, and then they can automatically go off at a certain point in time. And I also wanted to just express my concern about maintaining our parks. That's something that I think a lot of people are concerned about. And so I'm not sure how this transfer affects that, but just wanted to bring out those concerns. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, is there anybody else who'd like to testify on this matter?
Mr. Chair, there are none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Councilmember Tupola.
Real quick for the department, I think Kehao is here, Deputy.
Good morning. Please proceed.
Real quick question, Deputy. In regards to the electric costs, I know the Noresco one was for specifically the pools, and are you guys going to be expanding the Noresco contract to see if there can be other additions to help with the electricity costs?
Hi, aloha. So right now the NORESCO contract covers pools, but also lighting within our parks. So lights, plumbing efficiencies. So it's much broader, and the improvements will be made in 49 parks across the island. But yes, we are sort of looking at the next, I guess, level, what the next iteration of that contract would be. So we do want to expand and be able to do more.
And then on you guys' website, do you guys have what NORESCO has done for the energy updates thus far?
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
really nice. It's real time updates on what the status is in each of the parks and on the projects that we're doing. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'll look forward to that to see what more things they can do, because I think there's more opportunities for energy savings. So I'm glad you guys have a good partner. Looking forward to more cost savings. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, any questions, further questions for Parks and Recreation? Seeing none, thank you so much. Members, we're in discussion. Oh, excuse me, are there anybody else wishing to testify on this matter? Seeing none, members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 118 and Resolution 23-77 has been adopted. Moving to the bottom of page 15, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 119 and Resolution 23-78 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
This resolution relates to a transfer of funds for the Honolulu Police Department.
Thank you so much. I do note that we do have members from the Honolulu Police Department available if we have any questions. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Is there anybody else in the audience who'd like to testify? Noting no additional testifiers, members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 119 and Resolution 23-78 has been adopted. Now to the top of page 16, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 120 and Resolution 23-80 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Cordero for the explanation.
This relates to a transfer of funds with the Department of Transportation Services.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Are there any members in the audience who'd like to testify? Seeing none, members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 120 and Resolution 23-80 has been adopted. From the Committee on Executive Matters and Legal Affairs, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you, Chair. I move that CR 121 and Resolution 23-91 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam for the explanation.
This is to request additional funds and extend time for contract number SCCOR 1600138 to continue the services of Fukunaga Matayoshi Ching and Con Herrera LLP as Special Deputy Corporation Counsel to represent the city in the legal action entitled City and County of Honolulu versus the Insurance Company of the State of Pennsylvania et al., civil number 161105806, RAN Circuit Court.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience who'd like to testify? Seeing none, members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 121 and Resolution 23-91 has been adopted. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I move that CR 122 and Resolution 23-92 be adopted.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam for the explanation.
Chair, this is to retain the legal services of Kobayashi Sugita and Goda LLP as special counsel to represent defendant Eric Smith in the related legal actions entitled Uolani Gouveia et al. versus City and County of Honolulu et al., civil number 1CCV 21001150, Matthew Tabag Kalua et al. versus City and County of Honolulu et al., civil number 1CCV 22000415, and Jonathan Perkins Sinapati et al. versus City and County of Honolulu et al., civil number 1CCV 22000429, Circuit Court.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience who'd like to testify? Seeing none, any objections or, excuse me, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 122 and Resolution 23-92 has been adopted. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I move that CR 123 and Resolution 23-93 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam for the explanation.
Chair, this is to retain the legal services of McCorriston, Miller, Mukai, McKinnon, LLP as special counsel to represent defendant Jake Bartolome in the related legal actions entitled Ulani Gouveia et al. versus City and County of Honolulu et al. Civil number 1CCV 21-0001150. Matthew Tabagkalua et al. versus City and County of Honolulu et al. Civil number 1CCV 22-0000415. And Jonathan Perkins Sinapati et al. versus City and County of Honolulu et al. Civil number 1CCV 22-0000429, Circuit Court.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to testify? Doesn't appear so. Members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 123 and Resolution 23-93 has been adopted. Now to the top of page 18 from the Committee on Transportation, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Chair, I move that CR 127 and Resolution 23-79 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam for the explanation.
This relates to the Council's appointment of Rex Akutagawa to serve on the Rate Commission of the City and County of Honolulu.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wishing to testify? Seeing none, members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 127 and Resolution 23-79 has been adopted. Moving to the bottom of page 18 from the Committee on Parks, Enterprise Services, and Culture and the Arts, Councilmember Tolba.
I move that Committee Report 131 and Resolution 2363 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Accepting the gift of use of 2 refrigerated containers from Matson Navigation Company valued at $760 for storage of flower lay for the Mayor's Memorial Day event at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific on May 29, 2023.
Thank you very much, members. Or excuse me, Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Are there any members in the audience who'd like to testify? Seeing none, members were in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objection or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 131 and Resolution 23-63 has been adopted. Now moving to the top of page 19, Councilmember Tolba.
I move that Committee Report 132 and Resolution 23-64 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of shipping fees from Aloha Air Cargo valued at $2,500 for flowers and lace shipped from neighbor islands to support the making and collection of 38,000 lei as part of the Mayor's Memorial Day event at the National Cemetery of the Pacific at Pu'uwaina on May 29, 2023.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Are there any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to testify? Seeing none, members were in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 132 and Resolution 23-64 has been adopted. Councilmember Tolba.
I move that Committee Report 133 and Resolution 23-69 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of boxes from Ringo Packaging Incorporated valued at $1,941.42 for small and large boxes to store the flowers and lei that are collected to support the 38,000 lei that is part of the Mayor's Memorial Day event at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific at Pu'uwaina on May 29, 2023.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, no registered testifiers, 1 testifier standing by remotely.
Okay, please proceed with the remote testimony.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee, and the City Council, Angela Melody Young, testifying in support So Memorial Day is a federal holiday in the U.S. for honoring and mourning the U.S. military personnel who have died while serving in the military. And it is typically observed on the last Monday of May. Following World War II, Pu'awaina was designated the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific and was the first Memorial Day ceremony the first Memorial Day ceremony was held at the crater in 1949. And since the first ceremony, city and county has been honored to worked with the community and educational organizations to help facilitate a tradition for Memorial Day. So
Thank you so much.
CARES testifies in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, anybody else wishing to testify?
Mr. Chair, there's no one else to
Thank you very much. Members, we're in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 133 and Resolution 23-69 has been adopted. Now moving to the top of page 20, Councilmember Tolbaugh.
I move that Committee Report 130 and Resolution 23-41 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolbaugh for the explanation.
Supporting the development of a multi-purpose recreational facility and a 15-meter swimming pool in Kahuku.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have one registered testifier logged in remotely.
Okay, is that Sunny Unga?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Please proceed, Ms. Unga.
Chair, before I start, I registered twice, one to testify as an individual and then one to testify on behalf of Kahuku Community Association. Could I have two opportunities to testify?
Sure. Why don't you do them both now?
Oh, okay. So on behalf of Kahuku Community Association, we strongly request for your support, and we stand by a written testimony and here to answer any questions. We also wanted to let the council know that we also started a task force to help facilitate this project moving forward, and we stand ready to help in any capacity that we can assist you with. So that's my testimony for that. As an individual capacity, I'd like to testify and let you know that when we lived in town, we had access to the swimming lessons offered through the Department of Parks and Rec, and my three children was able to learn swimming starting from 18 months up, and it was such a wonderful resource. Once we moved to Kahuku, there were no nearby public pool that we could have access to these resources that are offered elsewhere. And so I just wanted to let the council know of those challenges that we faced. And I wish that as a mom of three, that we had these resources nearby because we do have to travel far. And even if we can, it's just very hard and difficult because of the distance and the timing and everything. So I hope that you can consider one of my stories as a testament to the need for a public pool and a rec center with an indoor gym here in Kahuku. Mahalo.
Thank you. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none, thank you again. Mr. Clerk, any other testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have one other person logged on desiring to testify.
Angela Young, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Angela testifying in support. And so in 1888, water polo was brought into the U.S. States by the swimming instructor John Robinson, and the game featured the old rugby style of play, which was much like the gridiron football in water. So I'm commenting about water polo because I think the community mentioned water polo was something that they'd like to play at the pool if they start to build it. So American style water polo became very popular, and by the late 1890s was played in such venues as Boston Mechanics Hall and Madison Square Garden. And the game featured set plays like flying salmon, where the player with the ball leapt through the air from the backs of his team members to score a goal. Violence was the game's main attraction. As the sport grew in popularity, so did its level of violence, with little rules to prevent it. In the 1800s, the intent of the game was to place the ball within two hands against the wall at one end of the pool to score. And players often swam underwater in an attempt to gain an advantage, only to be attacked by their defenders.
Please wrap up your
They met.
testimony, ma'am.
So, if they start to build a pool and Kahuku, the school, can go to championships, then it would be really good. It would be a good opportunity for that community.
Thank you very
and
much.
their water polo efforts.
Council members, any questions for the testifiers on water polo? Council member Tolba. Thank you very much. Members, Mr. Clerk, any other testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you very much. Anybody in the audience wishing to testify? Seeing none. Thank you very much. We're in discussion. Councilmember Wire.
Chair, I was going to move that the resolution be amended to the posted FD1, if Chair would entertain that.
Okay, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Floor Leader. FD1 just makes amendments set forth in the written summary as posted, mainly just specifying that between Kaneohe and Wailua, there's no public pool, and also just that in the recreation center, the community would also have the need for a gym specifically, because I know there's a lot of different plans in the making.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have to take testimony on the motion to amend?
Mr. Chair, I believe you already have.
Okay. Members, we're in discussion on the motion to amend. Seeing none, any objections or reservations to the motion to amend? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-51 has been amended to the posted FD1. Members, now we're in discussion on the posted FD1. Councilmember Wire.
Mahalo, Chair. Just quickly, I was going to see, I know we talked about it, budget, but if Deputy Director could come up from Parks and just provide any insight, given that this is another hearing and we have community members on. I understand it is an ongoing conversation, but Deputy Director, just wanted to offer you the opportunity.
Okay, yes. So mahalo for the opportunity. We are in support of this resolution. We feel there's lots of momentum both in community. Mayor was out at the Laie Town Hall and also voiced his commitment to supporting this effort. We understand there's the energy savings companies out there that may be able to contribute. But overall, we are supportive. This is a CIP, so it would take years for us to see it materialize. But on the park side, we are supportive, and we did see the ad in CD2 for our budget. Mahalo.
Okay. Mahalo, Deputy Director.
Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. Quick question. Where in Kahuku are we looking for this pool and community center to be built?
So right now we do have our Kahuku District Park, but we also have other city land. So I can't speak to how appropriate that the land out there would be, but we have again Kahuku District Park, which is a large park, although there's some things going on there, and then we also have other city lands inland too, but yeah, we have properties out there.
Are you looking at keeping the pool and the gym separate or keeping them together?
I think it's too early to tell at this point.
Well, I appreciate the resolution and I support this cause, and hopefully we can get something to the community. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Councilmember Tupola.
No questions for Deputy, but just want to thank the area council member for this resolution. It would be amazing to see this for the Kahuku community. And thank you to Angela for bringing up water polo, because the girls water polo did win OIA champs. They got all the way to semifinals, ended third in the state. So lots of really talented aquatic kids out there. And it would be great to continue to build that legacy and have the city help out with the facility that the whole community could benefit from. So thank you again to the introducer. Looking forward to whatever years we got to work on this. It would just be great to actually see it happen. And thank you for the department's support.
Thank you. Members, any further discussion? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 130 and Resolution 23-51 FD1 has been adopted. Now from the Committee on Public Safety, Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. I move that Committee Report 137 and Resolution 23-75 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Thank you. Accepting a gift of $8,000 to the city from the Honolulu Firefighters Foundation, or HFF, for various events.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to testify? I know we do have someone from the fire department if anybody has any questions. Noting none, members were in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 137 and Resolution 23-75 has been adopted. Now to the top of page 21, balance of committee reports. Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that the balance of committee reports be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
EMLA Committee Report 124, request for authorization to settle a claim against the City and County of Honolulu entitled Ke Kumulani AO versus City and County of Honolulu. EMLA Committee Report 125, request for authorization to settle a case against the City and County of Honolulu entitled Jonathan McClure versus City and County of Honolulu. And Planning and Economy Committee Report 134, getting a 250-day extension of time for Bill 10, 2022, CD1, relating to use regulations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to testify on these matters? Seeing none, members were in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, the balance of the committee reports have been adopted. There being no unfinished business, turning to the top of page 22, new business. Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 23-76 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution accepts a gift of conference registration and lodging costs valued at $1,672.68 to the city from the North American Society for Trenceless Technology for a staff member to attend the 2023 No Dig Show Conference in Portland, Oregon from April 3rd, 2023 to May 3rd, 2023.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody who wishes to testify from the audience? Seeing none, members were in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-76 has been adopted. Moving to the bottom of page 22, Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 2384 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution accepts a gift of a bench, concrete pad, and bronze plaque valued at $4,664.38 to the city from Shawtel Keith for installation at Kapiolani Regional Park.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to testify? Seeing none, members were in discussion. Noting no discussion, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-84 has been adopted. Thank you to Chantel Keith for the bench in Kapiolani Park. Moving to the top of page 23, Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 23-85 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution accepts a gift of a bench, concrete pad, and aluminum plaque valued at $4,639.07 to the city from Steve Williams for installation at Kailua Beach Park.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Are there any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to testify from the audience? Seeing none, members were in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations?
Chair, we have a motion to amend, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Councilmember Kia Aina.
Quick recess.
I'm sorry. The proposed FD1 makes the following amendments. It amends the title of the resolution to read as follows: Resolution accepting a gift of a bench, concrete pad, and aluminum plaque valued at $4,639.07 to the city from Steve Williams for installation at Kailua Beach Park. And B, it makes miscellaneous technical and not substantive amendments.
Thank you very much. Members, we're in discussion on the motion to amend. Seeing none, any objections or reservations to the motion to amend? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-85 has been amended to the hand-carried FD1. Any objections or reservations to waiving Council Rule 19G, the 48-hour notice? Seeing none, noting no objections or reservations, the 48-hour notice has been waived. Members, we're now in discussion on the FD1. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-85 FD1 has been adopted. Thank you, members. Moving to the bottom on page 23, Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 23-86 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution accepts a gift of a bench, concrete pad, and aluminum plaque valued at $3,225.89 to the city from Richard and Patricia Mooney for installation at Sandy Beach Park.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, are there any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to testify on this matter? Seeing none, members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-86 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 24, Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 23-88 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution accepts a gift of conference registration fees valued at $390 from the Oahu Visitors Bureau for 2 employees of the Office of Economic Revitalization to attend East Meets West 2023 conference at Aloha Tower on May 19, 2023.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have no registered testifiers, 1 person standing by remotely.
Thank you. Angela Young, please proceed.
Aloha Chair and City Council, Angela Young testifying in support. The East Meets West is the biggest tech and innovation event in Hawaii. It's going to have seminars about technology and startups and businesses. And the OER works with businesses emerging from the 4th sector, and this 4th sector is a new kind of business which not only creates economic opportunities, but also addresses social issues such as sustainability of our planet and equity for middle-class families. While a traditional business is focused upon profit, this 4th sector sort of business, which involves community impact, goes beyond just creating profit and revenue. So also the OER operates the Honolulu Film Office, and the film industry plays a big role in the economics of Hawaii. The film industry is a vital part of Oahu's economic diversification, which also supports the state's, one of the state's biggest industries, the tourism industry. And the film industry utilizes the existing visitor industry infrastructure to show the iconic destinations on TV and film. And this provides millions of dollars of free advertising. And so we are in support of OER and also sending the people to that tech conference. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the testifier? Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, are there any other persons wishing to testify on this matter?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-88 has been adopted. Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 23-89 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution accepts a gift of travel and related expenses to the city from the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators valued at $1,850.78 for a supervising driver license examiner of the Department of Customer Services to attend the 2023 FMCSA /AAMVA Commercial Driver's License Coordinators /IT meeting in Houston, Texas from May 16th to the 18th, 2023.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Are there any members of the audience who would like to testify? Seeing none, members who are in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-89 has been adopted. Now to the top of page 25, Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 23-94 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution accepts a gift to the city of a delegation visit to Switzerland from the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs, Swiss Confederation, valued at approximately $6,487 for the purposes of discussing public transportation policy and experiencing the Swiss public transportation system.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody from the audience who wishes to testify on this matter? Seeing none. Members, we're in discussion. Actually, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam, could you please explain a little bit more about this resolution?
Sure, thank you. I was approached by the Swiss government, specifically the Consulate General of Switzerland in San Francisco. They organized a delegation of officials working on transportation policy from California in 2022, and this is a follow-up. They graciously extended an invitation to a member from the City Council here in Honolulu, being a city under their jurisdiction as well, to look at the public transportation system in Zurich, given that we're getting ready to open up our system here and roll out the HoloCard more widely. I thought this was a good opportunity to see what the Swiss have done right. The Swiss, of course, have a reputation for being very timely, being very efficient, and I think it behooves us to take a look at their successes and see what we can do here. They've rolled out a very successful program called the Zurich Card, which not only pays for transit, but a number of other things, and I think that's a system which we can adopt here. Many people locally have been to places like perhaps in Tokyo, where they have the Suica card and a number of other things that people seem to love, and I think this would be a good opportunity to look at that. All of this is being provided by the Swiss government at zero expense to taxpayers.
Thank you very much. Members, we are in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-94 has been adopted. Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 23-96 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
The resolution approves the proposed budget for the Hawaii State Association of Counties for the fiscal year 2023 and 2024.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to testify? Seeing none, members are in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-96 has been adopted. Now to the top of page 26, Vice Chair Kia Aina.
I move that Resolution 23-97 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Kia Aina for the explanation.
This resolution approves a 4-day suspension of fares and distribution of Holo cards with the promotional 1-day pass to celebrate the grand opening of the Honolulu rail system and to promote ridership on the multimodal municipal transportation system.
Thank you very much. I note the presence of Roger Morton, Director of Department of Transportation Services. Would you like to take a few minutes, please, just to further announce and or explain Resolution 23-97?
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. And I also would appreciate and thank the council for accepting this as a direct resolution. We had kept the date of the opening of our transit system as late as we could to make sure that we didn't have any glitches. And one of the issues was that this is a public document and it does reveal it. We didn't want to get it before the council, but I do appreciate from the council the indulging us in hearing it at this point as a new item. This is to celebrate the opening of our transit system and to promote ridership on both our bus system and our new rail system, our multimodal system. We are planning on providing various ways that people could do it. First, you know, after 55 years of planning, and this is our third attempt at having rail, I do want to make sure that that our citizenry understand this is their system. It's not DTS's system. It's not. It's really the resident system, and we want to encourage all of our residents, not just from the corridor that is supported by this new system, but from all parts of Oahu, to be able to come and have the opportunity to see the system, to ride on it, to get a feel for what it is and how it works. And that's what we are asking for in this resolution, is the authority to provide free travel for 4 days. It just happened to be the 4th of July weekend. It's a nice time to get out with your family to ride. I'll plug the stadium too. They'll have the 50th State Fair during the period that we're there as well. And maybe we can do something where we can also encourage people to go to the fair as well. But I think one of the highlights will be to ride the new rail system. So we're asking for a suspension of fares on all of our modes, our bus mode, our handy van mode, our rail mode, for the period of July 1st, Saturday, July 1st through the 4th of July. For many people, that'll be a 4-day weekend, a great opportunity to get out. On the June 30th, when we are opening the system, we invite the public to try it out after 2 p.m. on that day. That would be on the 30th. We would not have incorporated our bus route changes at that point, but we're inviting people to sample the system with a doors, gates open policy. They can access it from Aloha Stadium, but it'll basically be a round trip back to Aloha Stadium. On the 1st of July, we'll be initiating regular service with a coordinated and connected bus system. And for that 4-day period between July 1st to July 4th, people will be able to ride free, but they will need a holo card in order to do that. No fares will be taken off the holo card. It will be free. But I urge them, if they want to come and ride the system, to get the holo card before they get to one of the rail stations. All the rail stations will be open. They can get a holo card at a ticket vending machine at all of the rail stations. But just if this is a very popular event, I think people are better off to just get it before they come, so they don't have to have the risk of standing in line and trying to get it. I don't know whether you folks, I mean, when I go to a new city and I go to buy a card, it takes me as a new user a couple of minutes to figure out how the machines work, and sometimes, so we just want to avoid delays and lines and make this a really positive experience for all of our residents. Happy to answer any questions that any of the members might have.
Council members, any questions for DTS? Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Director Martin. If you could just maybe for the public inform us of how the holo card could be received before the July 1st start.
We have holo cards are available at a host of retail outlets, including 7-Eleven, most of our supermarket chains. Easiest way is Google holo card, and it'll take you to holocard.net, where all of the information will be shown.
And is there a fee for getting the holo card?
Yes, there is a fee for a holo card. Holo card is a $2 fee, I believe, at this point.
Thank you, Director Morton. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, any further questions? Councilmember Tupola.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for this idea of suspending the fares. Last year, when you guys did it for the back to school kickoff, everybody in my district loved it because, you know, one, you have to pay for a holo card, so just getting one for free was nice. But having not to pay the fares for that whole week was really important. On a regular basis, I help people get a bus pass because that's how many people in my district use it. So we're looking forward to this. I'm glad this resolution came forward and you guys are doing something to kind of kick this off. And thank you for all the work. I know you guys have much more to go before the opening.
Thank you. Any further questions for DTS Director? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, are there any registered testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Do we have anyone in the audience who'd like to testify? Seeing none, members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 23-97 has been adopted. At this time, members, I do want to take you back to page 9. Page 9. Councilmember Kiaina.
Page 9, I believe this Councilmember Say.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hold on. Brief recess. I'm sorry. Are we up on Olelo? Okay. Councilmember Say.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move that committee report number 129 be adopted and Bill 8, CD1, pass third reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Say for the explanation.
It's relating to affordable housing, promoting the development of affordable housing in the city and county of Honolulu.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to amend?
I move that the bill be amended to the hand-carried FD1.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Kiaina for the explanation of the amendment.
The proposed FD1 makes the following amendments to the bill. Amends the uncodified Section 3 of the bill to read as follows. Section 3, no later than 1 year after the effective date of this ordinance, and by that date every year thereafter, the Director of Planning and Permitting shall submit to the City Council a report on the number of affordable housing units developed under Chapter 32, revised ordinances of Honolulu 2021 as of that time. No later than 5 years after the effective date of this ordinance, the Director of Planning and Permitting shall submit to the City Council a recommendation regarding the repeal, modification, or extension of Chapter 32, revised ordinances of Honolulu 2021, and B, makes miscellaneous technical and non-substantive amendments.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any registered testifiers either on the FD1 or the motion to amend?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have 2 registered testifiers standing by remotely.
Okay, please proceed. Angela Young, please proceed.
Be Mr. Hicks.
Mahalo, Chair. I'm Bill Hicks, Chairman of the Kailua Neighborhood Board, requesting 2 amendments to Bill 8 to ensure that the public is informed of projects that deviate from established requirements and has opportunities to participate in the decision-making process when such projects are proposed in their community. The first is for applicants to present their project to the appropriate neighborhood board during DPP's 90-day review period. State law regarding HRS 201H projects requires City Council review and approval, and Resolution 21-180 requested Neighborhood Board presentations. This process ensures notification and opportunities for citizens to provide testimony. However, unlike the HRS 201H process, Bill 8 would permit exemptions to requirements contained within Oahu's development and sustainable communities plans without any public notification, neighborhood board presentation, or city council review and approval, thereby effectively preventing citizen notification and participation on matters of local concern. The second is to comply with provisions in Oahu's development and sustainable communities plans. Oahu's several different sustainable community plans are tailored for each part of Oahu, and each plan has been passed by the City Council as an approved ordinance and become law. This requested amendment to Bill 8 asks applicants to follow the laws articulated in each plan. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, is there another testifier?
Yes, sir. We have Ms. Young standing by.
Thank you. Please proceed, Ms. Young.
Aloha, Chair and the City Council. Angela Melody Young testifying I wish to provide comments. And so I'd like to draw your attention to a conversation from the state, and they talked about the city a lot while discussing their priorities in a hearing led by the Senate and House Housing Chairs. And you can refer to my written testimony, which is about 10 pages with graphs and visuals. And while some of the bills died and the legislative season has passed, it is important to look at what the House values. And they have stated over and over again, the House values and prioritizes good working relationships with the city. The House majority wants continued investment in the pipeline. One of the biggest tools is the HHFDC Rental Housing Revolving Fund. And there was a big House majority package priority this year. The House majority proposed $300 million, and although at the end of the season, the new budget was only $280 million, it's a cash infusion. It is a cash infusion for the HHFDC Rental Housing Revolving Fund. So $100 million will go to less than 60% AMI, and it will be leveraged with LIHTC, and it can potentially yield 650 units. There's also a focus on Tier 2, 60 to 100% AMI, and this can potentially yield 800 units. So this was the House majority's initial proposal for subsidy. And with a focus on Tier 1, when there's talk about developing for less than 60% AMI, one thing they don't have is private activity bond cap to match the LIHTC. And essentially what happened is that the city took private bond allocation from 2020 and 2022, and now the 200 to 250 million of private activity bond has to get out, and the city has to get it out, otherwise the LIHTC cannot be leveraged. And another bill this year is to appease what the city is looking for.
Can you wrap up your testimony, please?
So in closing, the private activity bond is needed to leverage low-income tax credit, and so this is another priority that the state has set. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Clerk, I do believe we have Mr. Manaku also available to testify. Good afternoon, Mr. Manaku. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, James K. Manaku, Senior Concerned Parent, Grandparent, Great Grandparent. You know, I'm getting confused. You know, I thought when we bought a home, we went according to the type of how do you say it? You know, agriculture, housing, the housing that we went into. You know, if you went into condominiums, different types of housing, it all was different types of value. But apparently, is it different now? We all have it's all the same value? Is that it? The value of our homes are all the same now? Is that what is that how it works now? All the value of our homes are valued at one cost. Affordable homes are 1.1 million, no matter where they're located. If they're agriculture, if they're residential, resort, whatever they're zoned. There's no zoning differences. Is that it? Is that how Is that how affordable works now? I'm confused because apparently everything is no matter where we live. Like Waianae, for instance. Yeah, we're agriculture. We're rural country, but now we're all 1.1 million. How does that work? How does affordable work? I mean, I'm confused. So can somebody please explain that to me? I mean, how does the value of our properties increases?
May I suggest wrapping up your testimony, and then during the discussion, I'll ask one of the members
Yeah,
to
so
explain what this
maybe
bill
somebody
does.
can explain to me how does the value of our property increases? Because I remember, every district was different. Every district, Kahala was where the rich people lived. Kalihi was where the poor people lived. But today, every district now is rich. What happened? How can we, what's happening with our communities? We're all rich now, all of a sudden. There's no difference in the value of all of our communities. All of our communities are getting rich now. There's no difference in values. What's happening with us? Have we all gotten rich jobs? I mean, have we all gotten so rich that we can afford all of this, the value that's happening in our communities? Somebody got to explain this. I mean, I'm confused about this thing called affordable. Because now, apparently, every district is affordable. Well, I guess you guys know what you guys doing, right? You guys making all the laws.
As I mentioned, would you like
Thank
to wrap
you.
up your testimony? Then perhaps during the discussion of the bill, we could further flesh that out for you.
Yeah, because when you guys write bills, you guys are confusing us relating to affordable housing. And yet, when you guys say affordable, it's 1.1 million, gang. I'm confused.
By the way, all the bills that we and resolutions that we work on are available downstairs in the clerk's office for folks to actually get a hold of and read.
Sir, all the bills that I've seen, and I've come to here since 1980, they change. I mean, we've worked on bills from way back, and now all the bills that I've seen are changing. All the bills that people worked hard on are changing. The new people that come in are changing all of these bills that I've seen that people worked hard on before and worked, to make their communities stronger. But people that come into the communities, that represent the communities today, are changing it. Wow, I'm just confused. What are we trying to do? So, I always thought that the lawmakers, did things to make things better for us, and I understand that. That's why that's why I participate in the process, because that's how you get things better.
Thank you so much. I believe there's
So
one other person who'd like to testify.
You know,
And then during discussion, hopefully we can further explain what Bill 8 does.
because
Thank you so much, Mr. Monaco.
Well,
It's the
thank
other
you very
gentleman,
much
did you
anyway.
wish to testify,
I'll keep
sir?
coming, but you know, you guys gotta explain to us.
Okay, we're
how
gonna
you
do
guys
that.
making
Mr.
things
Monaco, we're
better
gonna do
for
that.
us when
Mr.
you guys
Monaco.
keep on increasing our value of our properties, and and our paychecks
Take a
doesn't
brief
go up.
recess.
Well, thank you anyway.
We have another testifier. Please proceed.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for your time and your attention. In regards to Bill 8, it's a question of respecting and abiding the town ordinances that have been agreed upon and put in place in the interest of each of these individual towns, who all have their own individual needs, and they don't want to be stomped on by the state, which might not very well be the state's intention, the city's intention. So if this bill really solves a housing issue on the islands and is genuinely a benefit for the citizens, then there should be no need for secrecy, and there should be no need for this being done without anybody's knowledge of it. So I think it should be written into the bill that people need to be apprised of what's going on, and that local regions need to be read in on what's happening, have some level of approval or say in the matter. I live in an affordable house, and I will be forced to move from an affordable house being built behind me, and then I'll be out to purchase or rent something, and it's tough out there. So again, this is being opposed to parts of this, and I hope the members of the council can see and agree that being against parts of this is not necessarily an issue as to whether or not somebody's for or against affordable housing, but for or against this manner of solving the problem. And I would like to do anything in my power to help, and I appreciate your time and your ears, and thank you all for listening, and thank you for all that you do.
I appreciate that. Members, any questions for this testifier? I just have a quick question. So where exactly do you live, and what's the situation that?
So I live at 14 Auliki Street in Kailua. The Meridian East. Behind there is a lot, 330 Ku'ule, owned by 330 Ku'ule LLC. They're building an affordable building in that lot. That building is scheduled to be 60 feet tall. The local town ordinances, in their sustainability plan, they had said, please nothing over 40 feet. That's the height limit for commercial building. So the building that's going to go in there is going to be 60 once the permits pass.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to testify? Seeing none. Members, we're on the motion to amend. What I suggest is we get through that and then perhaps bring up Donna Pana to answer further questions on Bill 8, who's here waiting patiently. Appreciate that. So, Mr. Clerk, anybody else wishing to testify on either the substantive bill or the motion to amend?
Mr. Chair, we have no further testifiers.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion on the motion to amend. Seeing none, any objections or reservations to the motion to amend? Noting no objections or reservations, Bill 8 CD1 has been amended to the hand-carried FD1. Any objections or reservations to waiving Council Rule 19G, the 48-hour rule? Noting no objections, the 48-hour rule has been waived. We are now in discussion. Let's call on Director Apana, please, at this point to discuss what Bill 8 FD1 does.
Thank you, Chair. So I believe the FD1 changes the sunset date to a shorter time, and I forget what the time is, but it's several years.
Well, what does the substantive bill do? This is again modifying Bill 1, then Bill 7, now Bill 8.
So Bill 7, it's basically a program or the ability to get a building permit for an affordable housing project under certain limitations within the apartment zone districts only. And if you meet the parameters under that bill for construction of an affordable housing project, there are some, I guess you could call waivers of certain requirements that are normally required within that district. So the height may be higher, or the density may be greater if you're able to fit within that. And it's a building permit, so it is ministerial. There isn't opportunity for comment or public hearing, et cetera, by community members. It's whether the building permit application meets the requirements of Bill 7, and if it does, a building permit would be approved.
Okay, any follow-up questions, members? Councilmember Kiaina.
Thank you, Chair. I did want to note for the record that I have received numerous concerns from Kailua constituents about impending Kailua affordable housing projects, in particular 330 Ku'ulei. I also am aware that the owner is being courted by Chick-fil-A. So we are either going to get this affordable housing project or a Chick-fil-A. Some of the concerns are admittedly general construction concerns and not necessarily tied to Ordinance 19-8. Others are tied to Ordinance 19-8 and primarily related to the height and setback flexibility, as well as the elimination of off-street parking. So for the director, can you, with regard to just reiterate for the ordinance, what is the height maximum under this ordinance, and how many stories would that be? And what I'm trying to get at 60 feet, what is the difference between the amount of stories, how many stories higher than it is under the current maximum height for Kailua?
I'm not exactly sure, but I think it was 4 stories under the current, or under the general building code, but that with Bill 7, it might go up to 60 feet or 2 additional stories.
Two additional stories. For the setback, can you describe what the setback flexibilities are allowed under this ordinance, and can you give an example of what that may look like?
I cannot. I don't have that specific information in my brain, but there is flexibility. It'd probably be allow greater or lesser setbacks than normally permitted in the apartment district.
Okay, and a lot of questions with regard to the development and sustainable community plans. Can you clarify for us what the role of Oahu development and sustainable community plans are, and what happens when an ordinance conflicts with those plans?
So our sustainability and development plans there's 8 of them, and they help to guide development within each of those 8 districts. When there's conflict between an ordinance and a development or sustainable communities plan, again, those plans are guidance, but they aren't, and the ordinance is law, so the law would generally trump those plans. But however, they are meant to be somewhat consistent or aligned.
I do think ensuring the public understands how they can share their concerns with your department about a project is important. Do you believe that the best way for them currently, if they have concerns over the project or want more information, is to contact you directly via email or contact a director within your office?
Yes, and they can go to our website and put in the address of any project site and get more information about what building permits are in process or other information. But we can provide
Okay, so with regard to 330 Ku'ulei, has their application already been submitted?
I'm not sure. I think maybe it has.
And would their project parameters be on your website?
Yes, we recently posted a little area under affordable housing on our website that gives more information generally about Bill 7.
Okay. Oh, so that Q&A, by the way, thank you for that primer. Do you have that on your website?
Yes, we
Okay,
do.
thank you so much. I did want to note that I will continue to encourage my constituents to express their concerns, and I will continue to encourage the neighborhood boards in my district to invite developers to give a presentation to allow community to learn more about their projects, including how these projects will meet growing demand for more affordable rentals, which very rarely is developed in Kailua. And I want to thank the members of this committee for my floor draft, which would, as far as I'm concerned, if we are trying to increase the number of affordable housing units for smaller projects and we are extending the time frame, then I think a better measurement would be to have an annual report from you on the number of affordable units that you are producing.
Sure, we can do that. And we're planning on updating our website to include, weekly what projects are in the pipeline and which ones have been permitted, et cetera.
And just last question, what are the number of units that have already been approved and in the queue?
I don't know the number of units. I think we've approved 8
or projects.
Eight projects. I think there's maybe 30 that are in process currently.
No more questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you. And in line with some of those questions, so Director, you are going to put up the addresses. I know the last time we talked, you guys were going to try to update what projects, because that one that she's mentioning is one, but I do think other people were asking about other ones because it does not require that public hearing process. People didn't necessarily know what it was. So you guys are going to be able to do that once the project is approved?
I think so. I think we need to speak with our city attorneys to see what we can provide, but we'll look into that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to be clear that there's a map on DPP's website that exactly says what areas can qualify for this. So would encourage everyone to look at that. And as well, it tells exactly, so this is under affordable housing, if you tap on the one that's called Affordable Rental Housing Projects under ROH Chapter 32. And I'll help my constituent look that one up as well to kind of clarify that. And just for the FD specifically, I'm grateful for this because it's asking that no later than 5 years after this that the department director would have to determine whether or not we should continue on with this. So maybe it was good for a short interim time, but it's had quite a bit of difficulty, and whether or not it's actually producing the quantity out of the pipeline that we thought, I think all of that should be taken into consideration instead of just extending it. I know that it's a pretty tough process for a lot of these people who have never ever tried to develop on their properties. So therefore the permitting and each of the projects has taken much, much longer than what they had hoped. So I am looking forward to the recommendation on whether or not it should be continued. But thank you for your work on the website. Look forward to the updates.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Thank you very much. Members, any further questions for the director? I actually have a few. So what are the affordable housing parameters that you spoke of? In other words, the developer is required to build a certain amount of affordable units. And when we say affordable, to answer Mr. Manaku's question, who is no longer here, what is affordable as defined in this whole process, which was, I got the order wrong. It was Bill 7, then Bill 1, now extension of Bill 8. So what does the city get and what does the city have to give up? I think that'd be very helpful for people to know that.
So I think the city gets more affordable units in the apartment district.
At what percent AMI though?
I don't remember. I apologize that I don't have that information at the top of my head, but affordable rental units, and what the developers get back or what the community gets back is, I think this Bill 7 was meant to kind of cut costs in order for these developments to pencil out. And so it's different than a 201H, which are usually bigger projects and have their specific AMI requirements, but it's very specific to apartment-like affordable housing projects that can serve as infill in those areas.
Okay, and to be clear, Bill 1 was the administration's priority bill for affordable housing, right?
Right, that was to further incentivize through grants per unit or square footage of the Bill 7 projects.
Okay. Members, any follow-up questions?
Chair,
Councilmember
Chair, I
Keane.
just wanted to answer your questions because I had her put a primer together for Bill 7. At least 80% of the total units are rented to households, have to be rented to households earning 100% and below of the average medium income.
Councilmember Say.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, as the sponsor of the extension, the idea was to just give them the continuation of a tool to use. Bill 7 was adopted in 2019. All of us were not here. And it is an issue because as a tool, and understanding what Bill 7 was all about, was it last year that we decided as a council to go along with Bill 1, which was the grant program. Recognizing that next year will be the sunset of the measure, would it be prudent to extend it? And that's why the chair extended it. You know, I'm not here for rampant development, but I can understand what the person from Kailua said on the Oahu Sustainable Communities and the conflict that we may have within our ordinances. But I thought this kind of a discussion would have been brought up when this particular measure was before the council in 2019. I don't know. I wasn't here. And that's the reason why I just thought that we should continue this project to see if it is successful or not. And that was just another tool to consider using. But agreeing, if the council members agree with the floor draft one, I'll be open to that. But at this point, that was the goal and objective of why I introduced it. And if you do it next year, it may be a little too late if I'm going to go into an affordable project as a developer. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any further discussion? Seeing none? Okay. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Aye.
Councilmember Kiaina?
Aye.
Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Say? Councilmember Talba? Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Aye.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 129 has been adopted and Bill 8 CD1 FD1 has passed third reading. Moving to the top of page 27. There are no items for the committee of the whole or executive session. Members, are there any announcements? Councilmember Wire.
Just quickly, Chair Mahalo, I think, voting is very important, and I just wanted to remind folks that this Sunday, 2 p.m. Will be the last night for American Idol, and Kuluku native Iam Tongi will be there, and so hope that our community and all of Oahu will stand with him. Mahalo.
Any further announcements? Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you for the Ian Tongi shout out. He's definitely still all in the Oahu vibes. I just wanted to say hello to the Waipahu Aloha Clubhouse. So I visited them a couple weeks ago and they said, we all watched the hearings. Can you please shout us out? So they're wonderful people. It's a adult mental health facility, and wanted to say hi to Carl and Eunice and everyone who hosted me. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further announcement, members? Seeing none, Vice Chair Kiaina for the motion to adjourn.
I move that the meeting stand adjourned until Wednesday, June 7th, 2023 at 10 a.m.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any objections? Noting no objections, the council stands adjourned until Wednesday, June 7th, 2023 at 10 a.m.